One of my favorite experiences with missionary work, I was in my fifth area. It's in central Java. It's called Semarang. It's one of my favorite areas. And we got a referral from a member of the branch presidency. I think they were just friends. I'm not sure how. But he told us to swing by his house, gave us the address. And so we went out there. It was like way out in the boonies, like in some village. And we get there. Another fun thing about Indonesia will be searching for addresses. You'll go in circles all over the place. The best way is just to ask people, do you know this guy? Because they're called a neighborhood or like a specific area. It's called a kampung. And within that area, everyone kind of knows each other. So because they're very social that way. So if you ask, where does this person live? Generally, they'll know. So we show up to this guy's house. Well, if you want to call it a house, it was literally a shack. Probably the poorest house that I entered into on my mission. It's like out in some swampy rice field, and it's up on bamboo kind of stilts. So it's raised above the ground because the ground is it's swampy water. And they have this like rickety, planky bridge going to the front door that's like some ripped open, piece of garbage, essentially. It was like the most humble circumstances that I probably ever saw on my mission. So we get there. His name's Mas Joko. And I think the first time we went there, only his wife was there. She was very kind. She said, come back or whatever. So the second time we go back, they're all there. It's Mas Joko, his wife, and they have two really, really young kids. And we go in and share a message, pretty brief, simple first message about the restoration, or I actually don't honestly remember the first lesson we shared. But it went well. We left them a Book of Mormon, and we left and came back the next week or a few days later. And things started to really progress with this family, where they would actually read the things we left them to read, and they started to open up to us about their circumstances. And they had really unique circumstances where it was really confusing. They were married, but not legally. Like their marriage wasn't recognized as law, which has a lot to do with Muslim culture as well. I think they got married in a Christian church, but their marriage wasn't recognized under the government, or some weird situation where they couldn't get baptized until they got married. They had no money. They had a lot of problems with some of their family and their friends, because once you join a religion, it's tough to switch religions in Indonesia, because religion is like the underlying part of their life. Like everything revolves around religion in Indonesia. So it gets to the point where they have serious interest in getting baptized. They have no money. They're hardly educated. He's trying to scrape by and make money and bring home food for his two babies actually. And it was, every time I went there, I was kind of expecting them to just give up, because maybe they knew it was true, but the future, it was clear they were going to have to make serious sacrifices to join the church. Even getting to church was like a huge hassle because of transportation. Whether it was there or not, it was expensive. So basically, every excuse that could have been there for them to stop learning and progressing was there. But it was, they never used an excuse. They always just found a way to go through it. They really started to have pretty incredible faith. And I remember one time, I forget what we left them to read. It was something specific from the Book of Mormon. But we went back, and it was like in between that last lesson and when we came back, there was like a radical change, especially in the wife. Mas Joko was like into it as well, but he was kind of he didn't understand as quickly as his wife did. But his wife was just like, it was like a very physical and spiritual, emotional change had occurred in her. And I was like ecstatic. My companion was very excited as well to see that sort of change in her, because it was at the point where either they were going to go for it or they were going to stop. And she told us, because they don't have electricity, obviously. She read the Book of Mormon with this little flashlight that she had. And she read that assignment, or the reading we had left with her, and she was like, yeah, when I read that, it was like the Book of Mormon became the light in the house. And I was just stunned, because growing up here, we have everything we need. And I'm from Utah, the center of Mormon population, so I didn't even know what it was like, to sacrifice for the gospel. And so she was just all in, and then her husband obviously followed, and they didn't care, what obstacles were there, but they overcame everything. And I transferred before they got baptized, but they did get baptized. And it's just, still thinking back on it, it's just astounding to see what they would do for the truth. And that's the other thing about Indonesians, is that, I guess, once they know, and they'll do whatever it takes. Wow. They'll do whatever it takes to make it happen. So that's my favorite conversion story, I guess, from my time. But it's tough. Missionary work there is tough. I mean, that sort of thing doesn't happen every transfer or every area, but those kind of experiences are what get you to keep pushing on when it seems like, everyone here is Muslim, no one cares. But there's always those people that the Lord knows are waiting for the gospel. You just got to find them. So the main thing I learned from that as well was, even if you go, 6 months with nothing and find one family that's going to accept the gospel, obviously, it's going to be worth it big time. So it can get easy to try and just kind of pass the time rather than use the time. But you got to keep that mindset that there is someone there. There's a reason you're there. Whether or not you're going to see someone get baptized, I don't want to say you're not going to, but planting seeds is a huge part of missionary work in Indonesia. I would make sure not to use that as an excuse to say, oh, we're planting seeds. We're not going to challenge people to get baptized. We're not going to expect miracles to happen because we're just planting seeds. But, I mean, it happens. So just keep that in mind.